The valley was silent, as if the earth itself was holding its breath. High mountains surrounded the place, their peaks lost in the mist. In the center of the valley stood an old cave, black and endless, like the mouth of a sleeping beast. The people of the nearby village often whispered about the cave. They called it the Dragon's Tomb. For centuries, no one dared to go near. The elders told stories of a creature inside, an ancient dragon who had once burned cities and shaken the ground with his wings. But the dragon was blind now. He had been blind for longer than anyone could remember. Some said it was a curse. Others believed it was punishment from the stars. Still, even blind, the people feared him. They feared the sound of his breath that sometimes rolled out of the cave at night. They feared the smoke that rose from the cracks in the mountain when the dragon shifted in his sleep. But one girl did not fear him. Her name was Alara. She was young, no more than 16, with dark hair that caught the wind and eyes that carried both kindness and fire. Unlike the others, she did not run when the dragon's roar echoed across the valley. She did not hide when the ground trembled. She felt drawn to the cave, as if something inside was calling her. One evening, when the sun had fallen and the stars began to shine, Alara walked to the cave. In her hand she carried a small vial of clear liquid, glowing faintly under the moonlight. The vial contained something rare, something most thought was only a legend: earth tears. The earth tears were drops of water found deep within hidden caves far below the mountains. They were not ordinary drops. They shimmered with strange light, like liquid stars, and were said to carry the power to heal wounds that no medicine could touch. Alara's grandmother had once told her that earth tears could cure even the blindness of gods. Her grandmother had died long ago, but the words stayed with her. Now Alara stood at the mouth of the dragon's cave, holding the vial close to her chest. The air was warm, heavy with smoke and the scent of ash. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. The cave was vast, with walls that seemed to stretch forever. Strange markings glowed faintly along the stone, old symbols that no human hand could have made. The ground shook slightly with each breath of the creature within. At last she saw him. The dragon lay curled in the darkness, scales dull with age, wings folded tight around his body. His eyes were closed, but even closed, they looked lifeless, pale and empty. His horns were cracked, and deep scars ran across his chest. Yet even in weakness he was enormous, a living mountain of fire and shadow. Alara's steps echoed on the stone floor. The dragon stirred. His head lifted slowly, and his sightless eyes turned toward her. Smoke drifted from his nostrils. His voice, when it came, was deep and heavy like thunder. "Who dares to walk into my tomb?" Alara did not tremble. Her hands were shaking, yes, but her heart stood firm. "I am Alara," she said softly. "I came to help you." The dragon's mouth curled into something like a smile full of teeth sharp as swords. "Help me?" His laugh was hollow, bitter. "No one helps a blind beast. The world has forgotten me." Alara took a step closer. She lifted the vial so the light touched the dragon's face. "I have something that can heal your eyes." The dragon's head lowered, and for a moment, the cave grew silent. Only the sound of dripping water in the distance filled the air. "You speak of earth tears," the dragon rumbled at last. "I know their light. I thought they were lost forever. I found them," Alara whispered, "and I believe they are meant for you." The dragon laughed again, but there was pain in the sound. "You are a fool, little human. Do you not fear what may happen if I see again? Do you not fear what will come?" Alara's eyes shone with courage. "I do not fear you." The dragon tilted his head, curious. "Then perhaps you are braver than most, or perhaps more foolish." She did not answer. Instead, she climbed closer, standing at the edge of his great snout. Her hands trembled as she uncorked the vial. "Let me try," she whispered. The dragon closed his eyes, and for a long moment, nothing moved. The world seemed to wait. Then, with hands as steady as she could manage, Alara let a drop fall into one of his eyes. The earth tear glowed bright as it touched his scales, then sank in like a spark vanishing into fire. She dropped another into the second eye. The cave filled with strange light, the walls glowing brighter than ever before. The dragon's body shuddered. Smoke and fire burst from his nostrils as he roared, the sound shaking stones loose from the ceiling. His wings spread wide, hitting the walls, and his tail cracked the ground like thunder. Alara stumbled back, shielding her face, but she did not run. The dragon opened his eyes. For the first time in centuries, they burned with golden fire. Sight returned to him, clear and sharp, stronger than any human gaze. He looked at the girl, truly looked at her, and for a long time he said nothing. Then, his voice came low and heavy, filled with both awe and dread. "You should not have done this." Alara's breath caught. "Why?" The dragon's eyes glowed brighter, reflecting the fear of the stars themselves. "Because now, they will come." The words hung in the cave like a curse. Alara's heart pounded. She wanted to ask who they were, but the dragon's gaze drifted upward, beyond the cave, beyond the mountains, as if seeing something far away. He whispered again, softer this time, but more frightening. "The sky will burn, the ships will return, and the world will tremble once more." The cave fell silent after his words, but the silence was not peaceful. It was heavy, filled with a new fear. Alara stood frozen, gripping the empty vial in her hand. She had healed the dragon's eyes, but in doing so, she had awakened something far greater. The dragon looked down at her, his gaze sharp and piercing now that he could truly see. "Little one," he said, "you have changed the fate of your world." Outside, in the night sky, a faint glimmer of light appeared. A single star moving against the others, faster, brighter. But it was no star, and it was only the beginning. The night air was cold as Alara stepped out of the cave. The moon hung low, silver and heavy, casting long shadows over the valley. The dragon's roar had faded, but the echo lingered in her chest like a drumbeat. Her hands still shook from the fire in his eyes, and her mind raced with questions. She did not know what to do next. She had healed the dragon, but his words haunted her. Now, they will come. Who were they? What danger awaited the world? Behind her, the dragon stirred, his massive wings unfolding slowly, shaking the dust from the cave walls. He stepped out into the open, each movement careful yet powerful. His golden eyes scanned the sky as if he could see every star. "You have given me sight," he said, his voice deep like rolling thunder. "But with sight comes knowledge and danger." Alara looked up at him, awe and fear mixing in her heart. "What do you mean? Who will come?" The dragon lowered his head closer to her. His warm breath ruffled her hair. "Long ago there was a war among the stars. I was a guardian of this world, chosen to protect it from forces beyond your understanding. I fought them with fire and wisdom, but they struck back with a fleet of ships, vessels of destruction. They tried to enslave this planet, to claim it as theirs." Alara's eyes widened. "Ships? Like spaceships?" The dragon's eyes gleamed. "Yes, thousands of them. They are not of your world. They are hunters, conquerors, and they are patient. They wait, they watch, and when they see an opportunity, they strike." Alara swallowed hard. She had only heard stories of dragons and distant stars, but now it was real. She had just stepped into a story far larger than her village, far larger than her imagination. "But why now?" she asked. "Why will they come now?" The dragon's gaze darkened. "Because I can see again. My blindness kept them away. Their sensors could not detect me. Their maps did not mark my presence. I was invisible to them. But now, my eyes are open, and with my eyes, they will find you, all of you." Alara trembled. The thought of an army of alien ships descending upon Earth was terrifying. But she could also feel the dragon's sorrow, the weight of centuries of duty. "Then what should we do?" she asked quietly. The dragon looked at her, his golden eyes reflecting both fire and wisdom. "You have done something many could not. You have healed me. You have shown courage. But courage alone will not save your world. You must prepare, and you must listen." He gestured with a claw toward the mountains. There are places humans do not know. Hidden valleys, ancient weapons, ruins of a civilization older than the stars. You will need them. You will need allies. Alara nodded, even though she did not fully understand. She felt a mixture of excitement and fear. She was just one girl, yet somehow she had awakened something enormous. Listen carefully, the dragon continued. They will not come immediately. They watch. They wait. But their arrival will be swift and terrible. Ships as large as mountains, crews of thousands, weapons that can tear cities from the ground. And they will demand me, or they will destroy your world. Alara's mind raced. Demand you? What do they want from you? The dragon's gaze turned toward the horizon. Long ago, I made a promise. A promise that I would protect this world, not only from them but from any force that would use it for evil. That promise, it is written in the stars. And now they come to claim it, to claim me, to use the earth for their purpose. Alara shivered. She realized the danger was greater than she had imagined. This was not just about a dragon or a village, it was about the entire planet. The dragon's voice softened. But there is hope. You have shown a strength that surprises even me. Humans, you are more capable than you know. It is why I trust you to be here now at this moment. You will need to gather knowledge, seek allies, and be ready when the sky darkens with their arrival. Alara took a deep breath. I don't know if I can do all of that. I'm just a girl. The dragon's eyes glimmered with warmth. Do not underestimate yourself. The courage of one can inspire thousands. You may be small, but your choices will shape the fate of your world. For a moment, silence fell between them. The only sound was the wind whispering through the valley, carrying the faint scent of smoke and ash from the dragon's cave. Then, without warning, the dragon lowered his massive head and pressed it gently against her shoulder. Rest now. You will need your strength. Tomorrow we begin your training. There are skills you must learn, secrets you must uncover, if you wish to survive what comes. Alara nodded. She felt both fear and excitement mingling in her chest. She had stepped into a story larger than life, and there was no turning back. That night, she returned to the village. The streets were quiet, and the villagers slept unaware of the storm that would soon come. Alara felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her, heavier than any stone she had carried. She held the vial of earth tears close, remembering how it had healed the dragon's sight. She knew that healing him was only the beginning. The next morning, she returned to the cave. The dragon was waiting, perched on a cliff, watching the horizon. The sun rose, painting the sky in shades of gold and red. It was beautiful, yet the beauty could not erase the tension that hummed in the air. Look, the dragon said, pointing to the sky. Do you see? A single star moves differently from the others. It is far away now, but soon it will grow larger, closer, and brighter. That is the first signal, the beginning of their journey here. Alara squinted, trying to see what he meant. She could just make out a faint light, almost like a small spark against the vastness of the sky. Their fleet is coming, the dragon said, and they will not wait. The moment they arrive, they will demand answers, and they will demand me. And if I refuse, the world will burn. Alara swallowed. She realized that her simple act of courage, placing the earth tears into the dragon's eyes, had set off a chain of events she could never have imagined. We must prepare, the dragon said. Learn what you can. Find the hidden places. Seek the tools left by those who came before. And most importantly, remember that even the smallest flame can light the darkest night. Alara nodded again, determination hardening inside her. She may have been small, just a girl, but she had a purpose now. She had a dragon by her side, a mysterious power within her reach, and a warning that could not be ignored. And far above, in the silent darkness of space, something was moving. A glimmer of metal, thousands of lights, ships larger than mountains. A fleet that would soon arrive at Earth, ready to claim what the dragon had sworn to protect. The warning had been given, and the real journey had only just begun. The sun rose over the valley, painting the mountains with golden light, but there was no warmth in Alara's heart. She had spent the night thinking about the dragon's warning. He had spoken of fleets in the stars, of a time when the world itself would tremble. And now it was coming. The dragon, whose name she had learned was Zirith, stood atop the cliff near the cave entrance. His golden eyes scanned the horizon endlessly, wings folded but ready. The ground beneath his claws seemed to hum with power, as if he felt the approach of something massive. "Alara," he rumbled, his voice deep and steady. "Today you will see what I warned you about. Look to the sky." Alara obeyed. At first, all she saw were the familiar colors of the morning sky, pale blues streaked with gold. But slowly, she noticed tiny points of light, blinking faintly in the distance. They were moving, deliberately in perfect formation. Her breath caught. "Are those the ships?" she whispered. Ziritha's eyes glowed brighter. "Yes, thousands of them, each larger than the largest mountain you have ever seen, and each carrying weapons beyond imagination. They have come to claim me and to test your world." The lights grew steadily, becoming clearer with each passing moment. Soon, Alara could make out shapes. Triangular hulls, glowing engines, towers of metal reaching into the sky. It was not just a fleet. It was an armada, a force that could crush entire cities without effort. Panic tried to rise in her chest, but she held it back. She had healed Ziritha's eyes. She had awakened something powerful. She could not falter now. "They will not wait long," Zirith continued. "Their sensors will detect everything. The moment they know I am here, their fleet will descend. We must prepare." Alara nodded. She felt fear, yes, but also a strange excitement. Humans had faced many dangers and stories, but now, she stood at the edge of something truly extraordinary. This was a test of courage, a test of humanity itself. Suddenly, a loud hum filled the air. The ships were closer now, their engines creating vibrations that rattled the valley walls. Zirith spread his massive wings, sending gusts of wind that swept through the rocks and trees. He lifted his head and roared, a sound so deep and powerful that the birds fell silent, and even the mountains seemed to shiver. The armada halted, thousands of ships hovering in perfect formation. A beam of light shot from one of the largest vessels, scanning the valley, scanning the dragon, scanning Alara. Then, a voice echoed across the sky, amplified by strange technology that made it feel like it was coming from everywhere at once. "Guardian of Earth," the voice boomed. "You have been found. Your time is up. Surrender willingly or face destruction." Alara's heart pounded. The fleet was not attacking, not yet. They were testing, demanding, threatening. She looked at Zirith. His gaze was calm, unafraid, even in the face of overwhelming power. "They do not know courage," he said quietly. "They see numbers, they see weapons, but they do not understand the spirit of a world that will not bow." Alara swallowed hard. "Spirit of a world? You mean humans?" The dragon nodded. "Yes, humans have something they do not see in the stars, something they cannot measure, something even this fleet cannot predict." The ground shook again, louder this time, as smaller ships began to break formation. They moved toward the mountains, scanning, probing, searching for weaknesses. Alara could see the shadows of their massive forms stretching across the valley. She felt a surge of determination. If the alien armada thought humans would cower, they were wrong. If they thought the dragon alone would protect them, they were mistaken. She was ready to fight, to survive, to show the strength of her people. Zirith lifted into the sky, wings spreading wide, catching the sunlight. His scales shimmered gold and red, reflecting the power of a creature awakened after centuries of blindness. "Stay close to me," he said to Alara. "I will shield you from the first wave, but you must be ready to act. Humans are more than numbers. You will learn to show them what courage can do." The first ships descended, firing beams that carved through the mountains like knives. Alara ducked behind a boulder, feeling the heat of the energy pass near her. She heard Zirith roar again, unleashing fire so hot it turned the sky orange. The alien vessels faltered, shifting formation as they tried to adjust to the unexpected defense. Alara could feel the thrill of the battle, her heart pounding faster than ever. She realized something important. Courage was contagious. The more she stood her ground, the stronger she felt. The more she saw Xerath fight, the braver she became. From her hiding spot, she noticed movement among the ships. Small drops of light detached from the armada, probing the valley, searching for her. Her mind raced. She had to warn the dragon, or they would find her and the villages below. "Xerath!" she shouted. "They're coming for the villages." The dragon's eyes narrowed. "I see them, but humans have hidden strengths. Wait for my signal." Minutes felt like hours. The sky was filled with chaos. Fire, smoke, and metal colliding. The alien fleet was precise, yet faltering under the dragon's power. Alara realized that this was more than a fight of strength. It was a test of will. The fleet had numbers, but they did not understand the courage and cunning of the beings they underestimated. Then Xerath let out a low, deep roar that seemed to shake the stars themselves. A wave of heat and energy swept across the valley, forcing the ships back into formation. Alara felt the ground tremble beneath her feet. She realized something incredible. The dragon was not just powerful. He was a force of nature. And still, the armada did not retreat. They adjusted, regrouped, and moved faster, sharper, more relentless. Alara understood then that the real challenge had only begun. The first wave of ships was just a test, a warning of what was to come. Xerath circled above, eyes glowing gold, scanning the horizon. "Alara," he said, his voice carrying over the winds. "Soon you will learn why courage alone is not enough. You will need strategy, allies, and strength beyond what you think you have. And still, even then, the fight may cost everything." Alara nodded, determination hardening inside her. She would not run. She would not hide. She had awakened the dragon, and together they would face the fleet. The armada shone brighter against the morning sky. Thousands of ships aligned in perfect rows, engines glowing red and white. The first signs of battle had already begun, and the valley trembled under their presence. Alara tightened her grip on the Earth Tears vial. The tiny drops that had healed the dragon's eyes now seemed like the start of a much larger plan, one that could decide the fate of her world. And high above, the dragon roared again, fire streaking across the sky, challenging the invaders, warning them that Earth and its defenders were not to be underestimated. The armada had arrived, and the war for the planet had begun. The sky above the valley burned with light. Thousands of alien ships hovered in formation, engines glowing like molten metal. Beams of energy cut across the mountains, scattering rocks and igniting the forests below. Yet amid the chaos, Xerath, the dragon, moved like a shadow of fire, graceful, powerful, unstoppable. Alara clung to a ridge, watching him fight. Each beat of his wings sent gusts that knocked smaller ships out of formation. Each flame from his mouth scorched the enemy vessels, forcing them to retreat or adjust their approach. And yet, he did not strike blindly. Every movement was precise, deliberate, as if he had fought this exact battle before. "Xerath," she shouted over the roar of battle. "How do you know what to do? How do you fight so perfectly?" The dragon landed nearby, shaking the ground beneath him. His golden eyes met hers, glowing brighter than ever. "Because I have fought them before," he said, his voice low and resonant. "Long ago, before you were born, I was a guardian of this world. My duty was to protect it from forces beyond your stars, forces that sought to enslave planets and burn civilizations." Alara's eyes widened. You're a guardian?" Xerath nodded. "Yes, this world was not always safe. The humans lived quietly, unaware of the threats above. I was chosen to watch over them, to defend this planet from those who would use it for conquest. My power, my knowledge, my vision, they were all meant for this purpose." "Then, why were you blind?" Alara asked. The dragon's gaze darkened. "They took it from me. The same fleet that comes now struck centuries ago. They blindsided me, cut my sight so that they could never be found again. I could protect this world no longer, and they retreated. But the threat never disappeared. I was hidden, waiting, weakened, waiting for someone brave enough to awaken me. Alara realized then why the fleet had come so swiftly. Healing his eyes had removed the last barrier. The alien invaders had sensed him, and now their journey was complete. "Why me?" she asked. "Why did you let me help you?" Ziritha's eyes softened. "Because humans are capable of courage and ingenuity. You reminded me of something I had forgotten: hope. One human, acting with courage and care, can tip the balance of entire wars. I needed that spark. And you have it." Alara felt a mix of pride and fear. She was just one girl. Could she really help protect the entire planet? "There are secrets you must know," Zirith continued. "Hidden weapons, ancient technologies, places humans have long forgotten. My ancestors left them behind, in ruins scattered across your world. If we are to survive this fleet, we must find them." "Ruins?" Alara asked, scanning the mountains below. "Like old buildings?" "Buildings, yes, but also machines, energy sources, and knowledge buried beneath the earth. They are keys to survival, tools that can even the odds against the fleet. But they are dangerous. Not all who touch them survive. And some are guarded by forces even older than I." Alara's pulse quickened. She had expected danger, yes, but now it was bigger than she imagined. Ancient machines, hidden knowledge, and forces older than dragons. She was stepping into a world far beyond her village. "Can we find them in time?" she asked quietly. The dragon's gaze turned toward the sky, where the armada had begun to rearrange itself, preparing for a full assault. "Time is short. The fleet will not wait. Their sensors are precise, their patience long, but even they will act when opportunity arrives. You must learn quickly, and you must act decisively. Humans may have been underestimated for centuries, but today, your courage will be tested like never before." Alara nodded, determination hardening in her chest. She had healed the dragon. She had awakened hope, and now she had to act. Zirith lowered his massive head, and his eyes glowed brighter. "Come, I will show you one of the hidden places. It is the first of many. Here, you will learn to harness knowledge and power beyond your imagination." He led her through a narrow passage beneath the cliff, a path that twisted through the mountains like a secret vein. The passage was dark, lit only by the faint glow of the dragon's scales. Shadows flickered against the walls, and strange markings traced patterns in the stone. At last, they arrived in a vast chamber, hidden deep beneath the mountains. The air was warm, humming with energy. In the center of the room stood a machine, enormous and complex, covered in symbols Alara did not understand. It pulsed faintly, as if alive. "This is one of the keys," Zirith explained. "An ancient device that can amplify energy, shield cities, and even influence the path of ships in the sky. But it is incomplete. To use it, we must gather the missing components, hidden across the world in places humans no longer know." Alara ran her fingers along the device, feeling the vibration of power beneath her touch. How do we find the other pieces?" "The map is not simple," Zirith said. "It is hidden in memories, in the earth, in stars. You will need to travel, to search, to learn. And every step you take will bring you closer to the fleet, and closer to the battle that will decide the fate of your world." Alara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders. She was afraid, yes, but she also felt a spark of excitement. This was her chance to make a difference, to show courage in the face of impossible odds. "Are we ready?" she asked. Ziritha's golden eyes gleamed. "We are ready to begin. But remember this: knowledge is power, yes, but courage, heart, and determination are stronger. The fleet may have numbers, and they may have fire, but they do not understand the human spirit, or the bond between a dragon and the one who awakened him." Alara nodded, feeling a surge of hope. She had healed the dragon, and in return, he had shared his secrets with her. Together, they would search for the hidden weapons, uncover ancient knowledge, and prepare for the arrival of the armada. And above them, in the sky, the alien fleet continued to move, their thousands of ships casting shadows over the mountains. The countdown to war had begun, and the world held its breath. Alara clenched her fists, determination blazing in her eyes. She would not fail. The dragon had shown her courage. Now it was her turn to show the world the strength that lay within. The secrets of the dragon were now hers to uncover, and the battle for Earth's survival was about to begin. The sun was hidden behind dark clouds that swirled unnaturally over the valley. The air was heavy, charged with electricity, and a low hum vibrated in Alara's chest, the sound of thousands of alien ships gathering in orbit. The armada had arrived in full force, casting enormous shadows over the mountains and valleys below. Zirith stood atop the cliff, wings partially open, his golden eyes scanning the fleet. He had grown silent, thoughtful, as if weighing every possibility. Alara approached him, her hands clenched, her mind racing with questions and fear. "They will attack soon," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "What do we do? How can we fight them?" The dragon's gaze turned to her, calm yet commanding. "We do not run, we fight. But this battle is not only about fire and wings. It is about courage, strategy, and the choices you make. Humans often think they are weak, but today, you will show them how strong you can be." Alara took a deep breath. She had spent weeks traveling with Zirith, uncovering hidden ruins, ancient weapons, and secret knowledge. She had learned the language of energy machines, the paths of the stars, and how to read the signals of approaching fleets. She had trained, prepared, and grown stronger than she had ever imagined. Now all of it would be tested. From the sky, the alien ships began to descend, thousands of vessels like black mountains against the clouds. They fired beams that scorched the earth, sending rivers of molten rock flowing down the mountainsides. Villages below had already been evacuated, and humans watched from hidden valleys, holding their breath. Alara climbed onto a rock near Zirith. "What choice do we have?" she asked. Zirith's wings flexed, sending a gust of wind that lifted her hair. "The choice is simple. We fight and risk everything, or we surrender and let them destroy the world. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in spite of it. Today, your courage will be the difference between survival and extinction." Alara nodded. She felt fear, yes, but also a burning determination. She would not let her people, her world, or the dragon she had healed be defeated. The first wave of ships approached, firing relentlessly. Zirith roared, sending a pillar of fire that cut through the enemy fleet. Smaller vessels were vaporized instantly, but larger ships adjusted and fired back, their energy beams slicing through the mountainside. Alara watched the battle unfold, and then she saw it. A massive command ship, larger than anything she had ever imagined. It hovered above the valley like a black sun, sending signals that coordinated the rest of the fleet. This was their leader, and if it fell, the rest might scatter. If it survived, humanity would be crushed. "Zirith," she shouted. "We have to strike that ship." The dragon's eyes glimmered with approval. "You are brave. That is the key. Strike the leader and the others will falter. But it will not be easy. Its defenses are stronger than any other ship in the fleet. You will need to act together with strategy, courage, and skill." Alara nodded, gripping the controls of the energy amplifier they had discovered in the hidden chamber weeks before. It pulsed with power, glowing like a heart of light. She had learned to channel Zirith's energy through it, amplifying his flames and directing them precisely. The dragon rose into the sky, wings slicing through clouds, his roar echoing across the valley. Alara followed, activating the amplifier. Energy shot from the device, forming a protective shield around the dragon while simultaneously enhancing his fire. The first beams struck the command ship, and for a moment, it seemed unstoppable. But the alien fleet was relentless. Beams from smaller vessels cut through the mountainside, and waves of ships adjusted their positions, preparing to encircle them. Alara's heart pounded. She could feel the weight of the world on her shoulders. Every decision mattered, Every move could mean life or death. She looked at Zirith, whose eyes were locked on the command ship. He was calm, focused, ready to fight to the last breath. "Now," he growled, "we strike together. Trust in your courage and in the strength of humanity." Alara concentrated, channeling every ounce of energy she had learned to control. The amplifier glowed brighter, sending a stream of concentrated light toward the command ship. Zirith unleashed his flames simultaneously, a torrent of fire and energy that collided with the ship's shields. The vessel shook, sparks flying from its hull. The alien leader adjusted its defenses, sending a wave of energy back at them. The shield around Zirith and Alara absorbed some of it, but the force was immense. Rocks crumbled, and the wind howled like a living thing. Alara felt fear rising, but she refused to let it control her. "We can do this," she whispered. "We have to do this." The dragon's roar answered her words, and together they pressed the attack. Flames and light struck the command ship again and again, weakening its shields. Smaller ships faltered, their coordination disrupted by the sudden assault on their leader. Then Zirith made a final move. He dove toward the ship, twisting his body around the amplifier's beam. With a mighty roar, he collided with the command ship, piercing its hull with fire and energy. The vessel exploded in a cascade of light and metal, sending a shockwave across the fleet. The remaining ships faltered, some retreating, others scattering in confusion. Humanity had survived the first wave. Alara landed on the ground, her body shaking with exhaustion, but her heart was full of triumph. Zirith landed beside her, wings folding slowly. His golden eyes looked at her with pride. "You have done well," he said. "Your courage, your determination, it has saved lives today. But remember, this battle is not over. The fleet will regroup and their numbers are vast. You must continue to learn, continue to prepare, continue to fight." Alara nodded. She felt a surge of pride and determination. She had acted bravely, and she had helped save her world. But she also understood the truth of Zirith's words. This was only the beginning. As the alien ships retreated into the sky, leaving trails of smoke and fire behind, Alara realized that humanity had shown something the stars had never seen before: courage, ingenuity, and the spirit to fight against impossible odds. And with Zirith by her side, she knew they could face whatever came next. The battle had tested them, but it had also united them. Humans, dragons, and ancient powers now stood together against the forces of the galaxy. And the choice they had made, to fight rather than surrender, had changed the fate of their world forever. Above them, the clouds began to clear, revealing the sun shining through, a symbol of hope and renewal. Alara looked at Zirith and smiled. They had won today, but the war for Earth's survival was far from over. And in the distance, beyond the mountains and stars, more challenges awaited. Challenges that would test their courage, their strength, and their determination like never before. But for now, Alara allowed herself a moment of triumph. The dragon's secrets, her courage, and the power of humanity had combined to turn the tide. The battle had been fierce, the stakes had been high, and together, they had shown the galaxy the true spirit of Earth. The sky was alive with energy, colors swirling like a living painting of fire and light. The alien fleet, weakened and scattered from the battle that had rocked the valley, hovered uncertainly above the planet. Thousands of ships remained, but their coordination had been broken, their command shattered. Zirith, the golden-eyed dragon, circled high above, wings slicing through clouds with calm authority. Alara stood at the cliff's edge, the earth tears vial clutched in her hand. Though she was exhausted, adrenaline kept her heart pounding, her mind alert. "They are regrouping," Zirith said, his voice low but firm. "Their numbers are still strong. If we do not act now, they could rebuild and return with greater force." Alara nodded. She had learned much from the dragon, from the hidden ruins, from the ancient energy machines scattered across the planet. Humans had weapons of their own now, tech and courage, combined to fight a threat that had once seemed unstoppable. "We can do this," she whispered, more to herself than to Zirith. "We can end this now." The dragon's eyes glimmered with approval. "It is your courage, your strategy, and the bond between us that can turn the tide. Humans underestimate themselves, but today, your spirit can save the world." Alara raised the amplifier, a device that combined Zirith's fire with the energy of the earth tears. The machine hummed with power, glowing brighter than ever before. She could feel it resonating with the dragon, the mountains, and even the planet itself. Together, they struck. Zirith unleashed a torrent of fire and light toward the alien fleet, while Alara channeled the amplifier, sending waves of energy that disrupted the ship's controls. The aliens faltered, their beams misfiring, their formation breaking apart. The command ship, the massive vessel that had led the armada, loomed above, attempting to regain control. Alara's heart raced. "This is it," she thought. "The final moment." "Focus," Zirith rumbled. "All your courage, all your skill. Strike together." The dragon dove, fire trailing behind him like a comet, while Alara directed the amplifier's energy beam straight at the command ship's core. Sparks flew, metal groaned, and the enormous vessel shook violently. Crew members inside struggled to regain control, but it was too late. With a final, brilliant explosion, the command ship was destroyed. Its destruction sent a shockwave through the remaining ships. Smaller vessels began retreating, confusion spreading through the armada like wildfire. The aliens realized that the humans and the dragon were not to be underestimated. Alara and Zirith landed on solid ground, breathing heavily but victorious. Below them, the valley was scarred from battle, but life had survived. Trees smoldered but stood tall, rivers flowed with renewed strength, and humans began emerging from their hiding places, eyes wide with awe and relief. "You did it," Zirith said softly, lowering his massive head to nuzzle Alara. "You have saved your world. Today, you have shown what humans can do when courage meets wisdom." Alara smiled, tears in her eyes. "We did it together, you and I, and everyone who refused to run." The dragon's golden eyes glimmered with warmth. "The fleet may have underestimated humanity, but now they know the truth. You are stronger than even the stars believed. You have shown them the spirit that cannot be measured by numbers or weapons." The sun broke through the clouds, its light scattering across the valley like liquid gold. Humans cheered from the cliffs and mountains, their voices carrying hope and joy. For centuries, they had feared the unknown, the dangers from beyond the stars. But today, they had learned that courage, unity, and determination could stand against even the most powerful enemies. Alara looked at Zirith, her heart swelling with gratitude. She had healed him, yes, but he had also taught her the strength within herself. Together, they had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. "Do you think they will return?" she asked quietly. Zirith shook his massive head. "Perhaps, but the humans have learned something today. They have learned courage, strategy, and resilience. If the armada ever comes back, Earth will be ready." Alara nodded. She looked down at the valley, at the villages and forests, at the rivers glinting in sunlight, and felt a deep sense of pride. Humanity had faced the stars and had not bowed. They had survived and they had grown stronger. "Come," Zirith said, spreading his wings. "There is much to rebuild, much to learn. The world has changed, and now it is time for a new dawn." Alara climbed onto his back, feeling the familiar rush of wind as they soared into the sky. Below, Earth stretched out beautiful and resilient, a planet that had faced death and found life. The humans watched them go, inspired by courage and hope, knowing that one girl and one dragon had changed the course of history. As they flew toward the horizon, the stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging the victory of those who dared to fight, who dared to hope, and who dared to believe. Alara leaned close to Zirith, smiling. "We did it," she said. "Yes," the dragon rumbled, his voice filled with warmth. "We did. And remember, this victory belongs to all who have the courage to rise, to fight, and to never give up. That is the spirit of Earth." The sun climbed higher, warming the valley, and the clouds parted. Birds sang once more, rivers sparkled, and life went on. Humanity had survived the impossible, and a new era of courage and hope had begun. And high above, the dragon and the girl soared together, guardians of a world that would never forget the power of courage, unity, and the human spirit. Earth was safe for now, but the legend of Alara and Zirith would live on forever, a story told for generations, reminding all who listened that even the smallest spark can light the darkest night. The dawn had come,